Hello! Welcome back to my channel. I'm Katie.the.cosmic.sailor, and today we are going to be getting messages from your future self. So I have a little bit of an outline of what we're gonna go through today. So the first thing that we're gonna look at is your present energy using oracle cards. And then we're gonna see what your future self wants to thank you for, what your future self is telling you to focus on, and then what your future self is telling you to cut off using the tarot. And then at the very end, we're going to get advice from your future self using a different oracle deck. So that's the reading for today. We have 3 groups to choose from. You can choose based off of the back artwork, based off the front artwork, or based off the crystal on top, and I will show you the front artwork as well. So group number 1 is the Linestrider Tarot, and we have this bag of jade crystals, and the card we're going to be selecting from today is the Page of Swords. So this is group number 1. Group number 2 is the Animal Tarot cards with the Rose Quartz, and this is the Page of Swords. So it's the Princess of Winter in this deck, and it's represented by the seagull. A little bit more focused. So that's pile number 2. And then pile number 3 is the Cosmic Slumber Tarot with the blue Apatite crystal. And then it is the Princess of Swords in this deck. And this is group number 3. So if you need time to meditate on the groups, feel free to do so. Feel free to pause the video, take a couple of deep breaths, relax, and whichever group you feel drawn to the most, that's your reading. If you feel drawn to more than one group, that's totally okay. That just means there's more than one message for you here today. And I will have the timestamps linked in the description box below. That way you can click straight to your reading. And I will see you in your pile. Bye! Hello! If you chose pile number 1 with the Linestrider Tarot and this little bag of jade crystals, this is your reading. I'll show you up close to these little crystals. I have them in this little bag because I don't want to lose them. But yeah, those are your crystals. We're going to go ahead and look at your oracle cards first to look at your present energy. So if your present energy isn't resonating, you might want to check another group. Let's see what we have. So we have the Shark, and we have Servant. This says, delight in serving others with a free and loving heart. Shadow attribute, using the lack of money as an excuse not to move forward with life. Okay, so these cards are coming out as your present energy. So the Shark is all about being direct, and it's almost, the Shark energy is also about going after what you want. So you could be at a point in your life when there is something that you want. This could be a relationship, a career, or something like this. And the Shark really is saying that at this point in time, you're being asked to be honest with yourself about what it is you truly want. And with the Servant card coming up, I feel like this pile could have people-pleasing tendencies or a tendency to want to serve others. But this could also be that at this point in your life, you're being called to serve others as well. But you're really being asked to be honest and be authentic with what it is that you truly want with the Shark card here. Actually, I want to read the Shark out of the book for you. That way you can get a little bit better understanding on your current energy. So the Shark is water, so this could have to do with your emotions, a certain feeling that you're wanting. But the Shark card says, It says directness, exposure, revealing true nature and desire. The shark is only dangerous when we don't acknowledge it. This card indicates that something big needs to be exposed. It's lurking in the depths and creating tension. Shark energy takes over us when we are hesitant to be honest, to be totally ourselves, or to say what we really want. So I feel at this point, you could be really wanting to be more authentically you, or there could be something in your energy field that may be creating some sort of resistance when it comes to expressing yourself. This card says, when in balance, intriguing, captivating, mysterious. When out of balance, sneaky or destructive, to bring into balance, honesty. So I feel like at this current point, your present energy really is asking you to be honest about what it is that you really want, and also to be authentic about what you want to express. And then we have the servant here as being in your energy as well. So this says, delight in serving others with a free and loving heart. Really interesting with these two cards coming out together. I feel like your present energy could be one of tending to other people's needs, or maybe not speaking up or using your voice in a way that benefits you, and you may be using your voice in a way that benefits other people. And so I feel like your higher self, your spirit guides, are really encouraging you to be honest about what you want. They're saying this is your world, we're just living in it. So I feel like that's the energy that your spirit guides really are asking you to embody at this present moment. But we're going to go ahead and look at the tarot cards. Really interesting that that came out as your present energy. So let's go ahead and look at what your future self wants to thank you for. Please connect me to the future self of pile number 1. What do you want to thank pile number 1 for? Oh. I actually feel like these are all your cards. We had 3 cards flip out. So we have the 6 of Cups, the Moon, and the Page of Cups. So I feel like this does have to do with some sort of emotion. This could be in a relationship. This could be your emotion regarding to a specific career. I do feel like this has to do with career, some type of calling or some type of purpose that you may be wanting to pursue or do in your life. But with this being in your present energy, I feel like if you have been doing things to express yourself, using your voice, I feel like this is something that your future self is thanking you for. And I feel like your future self is also thanking you for, it's interesting, I'm getting this message of like doing the dirty work, doing the shadow work, and I feel like this group could also have a tendency to idealize the past. That's something that's coming through. But I feel like you may have been doing a lot of work in the present moment, especially with this servant card here. I feel like you've been doing a lot of work on maybe bettering yourself, maybe expressing your emotions. I feel like you could have grown up in a family system that wasn't very comfortable expressing their emotions, and so as an adult it may have been harder for you to get into this state of mind. But I with the shark card here, with the water energy, and we have a lot of cups and water, I think the moon is ruled by Pisces, I believe, maybe Cancer, I can't remember, but it's water energy. And so I feel like you may be your authentic self when you are expressing your emotions, when you're following that feeling of joy, whenever you're focusing on what no longer serves you, and that feeling you get whenever you're in situations that no longer resonate, or if you're in feelings of fear. I feel like your future self really is thanking you for focusing on what feels good. And you may have been in a period where you're learning to find what feels good, and you're learning to really find what resonates with you. And like I was saying in the beginning with that people-pleasing energy, this could have been energy of the past where maybe you didn't pursue something, or maybe you didn't express yourself authentically because you were afraid of how you would be perceived by other people, or you were afraid that maybe other people just wouldn't understand. Your spirit guides are saying the girls that get it, and the girls that don't. So I feel like your future self really is thanking you for really delving into these deeper, darker emotions and, you know, really purging. I feel like you could have been doing a lot of purging when it comes to your emotions. I am seeing somebody maybe late at night crying about something, and I feel like your future self really is thanking you for releasing these emotions and following the joy. That's something that's coming through with this. Oh, let me put these cards that way you can see them. With the Six of Cups here. And I feel like you could have also been doing a lot of inner child healing, or really focusing on what you used to love as a child. Your spirit guides are saying you were your most authentic self whenever you were a child. So if you've been really getting it back into the things that you enjoyed when you were a child, I'm hearing specifically cosmetology, art, things like that. I feel like maybe your family didn't really value, but these are things that you highly valued. I feel like this group could be very psychic as well, or maybe into the occult, or things that are more taboo. And I feel like your future self is really thanking you for remembering your inner child and remembering to do the things that you love. I feel like you could have been at a point in your life where you maybe got into this like fight or flight mode, or really just looking like living to survive. But I feel like your future self is really thanking you for doing the things that you enjoy and remembering to do the things that you enjoy, because a lot of times we can get stuck in our own heads and, you know, this work and grind mode where we don't, you know, do the things that we love and we forget to play. And I feel like your spirit guides, your future self is thanking you for remembering to play. That's something that's coming through. We're going to go ahead and look at what your future self is telling you to focus on. So I'll move these cards over just a little bit. We have a little bit more room. And I just saw 10:10 on the clock timer. So I feel like you're coming to a phase of completion, and I feel like you're really shifting into a higher vibration. I feel like you're shifting into, it's interesting because I'm just seeing like a child admiring an adult. So I feel like you're shifting into the person that your inner child would have loved to be. That's something that's coming through. But please connect me to the future self of pile number 1, please. What do you want pile number 1 to focus on at this time? Future self of pile number 1. Okay, so we have one card come out. So we have the King of Cups, more like emphasis on emotion. And we have the fish here. The fish is all about going with the flow. And also with this like particular fish, I'm seeing the koi, which the koi fish is all about spirituality. I feel like your future self really wants you to focus on your spiritual journey, wants you to focus on your emotional evolution is something that's also coming through. I feel like you've really been doing a lot of work on healing certain emotions. I'm hearing anger and sadness specifically, and I feel like your future self is really asking you to continue to focus on becoming more emotionally evolved, becoming more emotionally mature, and really becoming this like ruler over your emotions is something that's coming through, and not letting your emotions overtake you. I feel like really practicing mindfulness and really doing maybe like a daily practice of focusing on how you feel like periodically throughout the day. A lot of times, you know, we're never taught this as children, you know, our emotions you know, don't have to control us. And a lot of times our emotions can make us feel powerless. And so I feel like your future self is really asking you to focus on regaining control over your emotions and not letting your emotions overtake you, is something that's coming through. And I feel like meditation could be very helpful. I feel like there's one particular spiritual practice, and your future self is saying, you know what it is, that helps you when it comes to regaining control over your emotions. This could be witnessing your emotions and watching them pass. This could also be just self-care, self-love, remembering to take care of yourself, remembering to do the things that you want to do and the things that you enjoy. And that's coming up in your present energy. You know, the shark doesn't really care too much about what other people think about it. It's the shark. It goes out there, it gets what it wants, it does what it wants, it lives its authentic life as the shark. And I feel like there's also this message of boundaries that's coming through. There could be a need to create boundaries, or I feel like your future self could be saying you've been doing a good job at implementing certain boundaries, especially when it comes to your emotions. And I feel like your future self really wants you to be in this lighter energy, this more peaceful, joyous, loving energy. And so when you do experience these negative emotions, anger, sadness, depression, things like that, I feel like your future self really is encouraging you to almost implement boundaries with yourself and not letting yourself go too deep and get lost in the tides of your emotions. That's something that's coming through as well. We're going to go ahead and look and see what your future self is telling you to cut off. I just saw 1414 on the clock timer. A lot of like repeating numbers. I feel like this message is coming through about mirroring. There could be people in your environment who maybe trigger you in certain ways, and I feel like your future self is almost pointing this out as like, these are the times when it's important for you to implement self-control is something that's coming through, but also this like healing. Whenever you become triggered by something, really focus on what it is that your inner child, specifically your inner self, yourself is really highlighting. Like, for example, if this is just coming to mind, if you are a server or if you're doing something for somebody to help them, and maybe this person is treating you rudely, or maybe this person, you know, it says something rude to you and you get triggered by that, your future self is saying, what is it about you that thinks that you're not good enough? I feel like you could struggle with self-worth issues, but your spirit guides are saying when you allow these people to trigger you, you're allowing your own emotions to flare up. And it's like you're almost, I'm just seeing this like inner person being like, why would this person treat me like this, you know? And your spirit guides, it's almost like they're saying, I feel like part of you could think, you know, only people who aren't worthy would be treated like this. And so it goes back to self-worth. Your spirit guides, your future self is really encouraging you to practice self-worth. And remember that you are valuable. You are valued no matter how other people treat you. And when you learn this, it's like even if people treat you rude, you understand and you know that this has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. And so you begin to get in this mindset where you no longer are triggered by people who treat you rudely or people who don't value your service because you value your service. That's something that's coming through. Please connect me to the higher self of pile number 1. To the future self, I'm sorry, please connect me to the future self of pile number 1. What would you like pile number 1 to cut off? Future self of pile number 1. What would you like pile number 1? I feel like this card wants to come out. What would you like pile number 1 to cut off? Future self. Okay. So we have the Knight of Swords, And then we have the Page of Wands. So this is fire and air energy. This is very masculine energy. I feel like your future self really wants you to sit with certain emotions and really almost like do the healing and release these emotions. And like I was saying earlier, specifically, it could have to do with self-worth, self-love, knowing that you are valuable because you exist. You don't need anybody to value you. You can value yourself. You can know that you are good enough. And I feel like you could have a tendency to be really impulsive. And I'm seeing somebody who could be really quick to anger or really quick to frustration. For example, if somebody like does something without even really thinking it, I feel like it's almost like impulsive, where you just want to call that person out, or you just want to almost, you know, say, how could you do that to me? Or how could you act like this? And I feel like your future self really wants you to, it's almost like I feel like it's almost a sense of self-sabotage, where it's like yes, you have done all this healing and you've done all this shadow work and you've done all this inner work, but I feel specifically with relationships here, if somebody is triggering you, I feel like you could be really quick to act. And I feel like your future self really wants you to be in this more feminine energy and this more almost like passivity of like not letting these people trigger your emotions is something that's coming through. Your spirit guides are saying you are the one who holds the ammunition. So when somebody triggers you, it's like you are allowing this explosion to go off in yourself. And so I feel like your future self really wants you to cut this out and not become so explosive in the face of other people's shadow. That's something that's coming through as well. And with this dragon here, I feel like you could be very feisty, and I feel like you could maybe be very quick to say something, especially with this shark energy here being in your present energy. You know, the shark is very quick to bite, very quick to attack. And so I feel like your future self, it's almost there. Your future self is saying this is almost like self-sabotaging when you allow yourself to retreat to these old coping mechanisms. And your future self really wants you to not do that anymore. Because I feel like it does hurt the other people, but it also hurts you in a way as well. Because I feel like because you are coming through as the servant, I feel like part of your calling, part of your soul mission is to be of service to other people, to help other people, to heal other people, to uplift other people. And whenever you fall back on these old coping mechanisms, on these old defense mechanisms, it's almost like sabotaging your healing journey in a way. Let's move this up a little bit, that way you can see. And it's interesting because on this Knight of Swords, we have this like imagery of this red here. And to me, this is almost like symbolizing of like blood. And so it's like I was saying, it's like you not only hurt others whenever you allow yourself to be triggered or allow yourself to explode, not only internally but externally, you also hurt yourself. And your spirit guide, your future selves and your spirit guides really just wants you to be in this love, light, and, you know, like positive energy. And I feel like there is something that you've been wanting to go after or pursue or do. This could be a relationship, this could be closer connections with people, but this could also have to do with career, really anything. And I feel like your future self wants you to achieve this and wants you to almost up level and evolve. But in order to do so, you have to let go of these old defense mechanisms, is what your future self is saying. We're going to go ahead and end with some advice and guidance from your future self using this oracle deck. Let me just shuffle these cards really quick. I just feel like cutting the deck. Please connect me to the future self of pile number 1. Can we please get advice and guidance from the future self? Pile number 1, please. Oh! Have this card flip over. Okay, so actually I want to read this card from the book. This is the Vulture Spirit, number 63, and I just saw 2222 on the clock timer. So that number could be significant, or you could be seeing that number as confirmation. Let's go ahead. I want to read it out of the book for you. Number 63. So this says, what seems hideous has its own beauty, and the recycling and repurposing the vulture does is as important as any other activity in nature that supports the cycle of life. Vulture Spirit's message is that nothing is to be wasted, for nature sees value in everything that exists. What seems rotten and ugly has the potential to be transmuted into something beneficial. And you are reminded that any suffering you have experienced has not gone to waste. Wisdom and understanding that arose from the experience are talismans that will serve you on your journey wherever you go. What is decaying is only changing form and will fertilize seeds you wish to plant, turning that which has passed away into the substance that will support new growth. All that you might wish to deny or discard has value and can be repurposed and reintegrated into the new you that you are becoming and the new life that you are dreaming into being. No pain was in vain and no experience was wasted, for you have the power to use it to co-create something far better. This is the miracle in your partnership with Spirit. Really interesting. I love that that came through as your advice and guidance, because we were getting that message of emotional triggering and anger and maybe suffering or pain that you may have held on to, but your future self really is saying that that is almost like that energy, that anger, that pessimism, that frustration, depression, sadness, that energy is not wasted, because it almost like allows you to become more aware of yourself, of your patterns, of your conditioning as well. That's something that's coming through, and it's almost like it allows you to transmute that into a higher awareness and into like this more loving awareness as well. But that's all I have for you, pile number 1. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this reading, please give me a like, please comment down below and let me know if this resonated. And if you feel called, please subscribe to my channel. It really does help my channel grow, and we would love to have you be a part of the Sailor family as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you later. Bye! Hello! If you chose pile number 2, with the rose quartz crystal, this is your reading. We are going to get messages from your future self. So first we're going to look at your present energy, and we're going to use the oracle cards to do so. And if the present energy isn't resonating for you, you might want to try looking at a different group. I just wanted to say that in the very beginning. Let's go ahead and see what we have. So we have the Virgin and the Hawk coming out as your present energy. Okay. And then the Virgin says, maintaining symbolic purity of heart and spirit. Shadow attribute, fear of intimate union. Okay. And it's interesting you chose the rose quartz. The rose quartz is all about self-love, your higher heart chakra, love in general. And the Virgin is, the shadow attribute is the fear of intimate union. And in a lot of like traditions and cultures and religions, being a virgin is almost viewed as something that's very good, or like a really good quality. But if you've ever suffered from religious trauma, I would say that it's almost the exact opposite, because when you're almost portrayed as this virgin energy, you can be portrayed as almost this untouchable, is something that's coming through. Humans are meant to have connection. They're meant to have community. And the shadow attribute of the Virgin is the fear of intimate union. So the Virgin archetype can tend to camouflage itself in intimate connections, or almost like harm themselves in a way where they feel like they can't be around other people or connecting to other people. And it can be very damaging to a person because, you know, like I was saying, we are meant to be connecting with others. We are meant to be in community. We are meant to be social creatures. And like I was saying, it's this fear of intimate union, camouflaging yourselves when you're around other people because you're afraid of connecting. And that's something that's interesting that's coming through with this card coming out as being in your present energy. And then I want to look at what the hawk says. I know the hawk is all about higher perspective. I feel like the hawk is also very connected to spirit and very connected to shamanism and almost like the angelic realm as well. But I want to see what it says. Okay, so the hawk says, watchful, all-seeing messenger of divinity. So with that coming through, I feel like you guys could be channelers. I feel like you guys could be very connected to spirit. You could also have a lot of transits going through your 9th house right now. I would look into your astrological chart, or you could have a lot of Sagittarius placements or 9th house placements as well. And it's interesting because I feel like there's a lot having to do with religion, spirituality, faith that's coming through in your group's reading with your present energy. So these could be things that you're very focused on right now. Maybe your spiritual practice, your religion, or maybe leaving a religion or joining a religion or things like this. But the hawk also says, the sharp eyes of the hawk watch our every move. This keen-eyed bird has the ability to see every little detail as well as the bigger picture. When this card appears, fate has its eyes on you and the winds are shifting. It is said that the hawk carries news upon its wings and is sent from divinity itself to deliver it. The message should not be taken lightly. Though it may seem small or insignificant, it will eventually redirect your course. To bring the hawk energy into balance, a perspective shift. Interesting. So you could be going through a big change in your life, a transformation, or you could be really changing your perspective about some things. And that's kind of what I was bringing through with this Virgin card in the very beginning, because like I was saying, in society and a lot of religions and a lot of cultures, being a virgin is viewed as something that's very good. You know, you want to stay a virgin until marriage and things like this. But I personally believe, and I would argue, that it's important to explore your sexuality. It's important to explore intimate connections. You know, always be safe and remember to not just, you know, put yourself in situations with people that you don't trust. But I believe that it's very important to establish intimate connections and intimate relationships, because when you grow up with this archetype or you come from religious trauma or things like this, it can be very hard for you to open up to people, and it can be very hard for you to connect with others on an intimate level. It doesn't even have to be, you know, a relationship. It could be a friendship, you know, it could be family members. It could be any type of connection that you may struggle connecting with. So I feel like you could have a lot of 9th house placements. I feel like you could be at a point in your life where you're discovering more about what it is that you want to do with your life, your faith, your religion, your spirituality. You could also be wanting to travel more. That's something that's coming through as well. You could also be learning more or going through some type of higher education. That's something that's coming through. But this is just coming through as your present energy. We're going to go ahead and get into the tarot cards, and we're going to look at some more messages from your future self. But I feel like this is really deep. That was coming out from the very beginning. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle these cards really quickly. I'm going to cut the deck. So the first thing we're going to look at is something that your future self wants to thank you for. Oh, sorry if you can hear that. That's my dog stretching. Please connect me to the future self of pile number 2. What is something that you want that you want to thank pile number 2 for? So the first thing that I was hearing, I feel like you could have been doing a lot of healing on your heart or opening yourself up to community. That's something that's coming through. I feel like your future self wants to thank you for stepping into the unknown. Thank you for shifting your perspective when it comes to connection. What is something that the future self of pile number 2 wants to thank them for? Oh, what do you want to thank pile 2 for? Okay, so we actually have the imagery that's on the back of the deck, which is the Queen of Wands. So it's the Queen of Spring in this deck, but it's the Queen of Wands. Talented, brilliant, independent, and charming. And then this says, oh, if it'll focus. Don't underestimate your ability to manifest your dreams. You may have several priorities vying for your attention at once, but you can do it. Really interesting, because the Queen of Wands does talk about shadow work. So if you've done shadow work, your future self really wants to thank you for doing the shadow work. But I feel like if you've been at a point in your life where you've been expressing yourself more, where you've been going out, connecting with people, this could have to do at work, this could have to do in friendships, romantic relationships as well. Your future self is really thanking you for almost becoming really brave and courageous and stepping out and putting your energy out there, you know. And it can be scary a lot of times when we put ourselves out there because we don't know how we'll be received from other people. But your future self really wants to thank you for shining your light. That's something that's coming through. And we have this image of the sunflower over here, which is making me think of the sun. So your future self really wants to thank you for following your joy, following your inspiration, and really with this message of independence here as well, your future self really wants to thank you for being more independent in your own energy and not feeling like you have to rely on other people, but really relying on your own self. If you've been doing a lot of like work on becoming your own best friend, your future self wants to thank you for this as well. Because I feel like it really is helping you shift your perspective and really helping you step into this more charismatic, charming type energy. We're going to go ahead and look at what your future self is telling you to focus on at this time. Oh, sorry about that. My dog is dreaming down below me, if you can hear that in the back. Please connect me to the future self of pile number 2. What would you like pile number 2 to focus on at this time? Future self of pile 2. What would you like pile 2 to focus on? Okay, so we'll take all 3 of these for what your future self wants you to focus on. So we have the Chariot, and 7 is a very spiritual number as well. So if you've been thinking about getting more into spirituality, I feel like your future self really wants you to focus on spirituality, but also really focusing on this forward momentum, focusing on this forward movement. And we have this butterfly here as well. So I feel like your future self is almost asking you to focus on the person you want to become, is something that's coming through. But at the bottom it says, you can successfully balance various or opposing energies at once through determination and focus. You've earned the rewards and recognition you're receiving. So, and we also, I did see this flip over, the Six of Spring, which is all about success. So I feel like your future self really wants you to focus on the things that you have accomplished. Focus on the things that you have built for yourself, that you have done for yourself, that you have achieved. Because I feel like it's almost, when you focus on these things that you have succeeded at or that you have achieved, it's like it brings more of that energy in for you, more to be grateful for, more to be successful for, or more to be grateful that you've succeeded at, is something that's coming through. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but let's see. And then let's go ahead and read what it says at the bottom. You may receive a promotion, be chosen for a scholarship, or find that you're singled out for special recognition. You've done an amazing job and you deserve all the attention. And that's kind of what was coming through with this Queen of Spring here as well, is like your future self really wants to thank you for putting in the work, for stepping out of your comfort zone, for, it's almost like acting as if is something that's also coming through. And your future self really wants you to focus on your accomplishments, how far you've come. And then we have the Prince of Spring, which is the Knight of Wands. It says passionate, charismatic, confident, and restless, and it's the Dolphin. An opportunity arises that needs your attention right away. Moving quickly is important, yet there's nothing you can't handle if you follow your inner guidance. So I feel like that's something that's also coming through. Your future self wants you to focus on following your inner guidance, and they want you to focus on following your inspiration, following your passions, and really pursuing the things that give you this like spark of a feeling, or this fire within. Just hearing your future self saying to fan the flames of your passion. That's something that's coming through as well. And it's interesting, you know, with the Virgin, I feel like there's a lot of, when it comes to the Virgin, the energy is very suppressed, it's very stifled, and the Virgin really isn't supposed to have a lot of passion, but you have a lot of Wands energy here. So I feel like your future self really is encouraging you to embrace the fire within, embrace your light within, and really like focus on this passion, this desire, this fire that you have, whether that's for a relationship, whether that's for friendship, whether that's for a career. This could really have to do with anything. Whatever you're passionate about at this moment in time, your future self really wants you to focus on pursuing those passions, going after your dreams, and really like going full speed ahead. We do have the Chariot here as well. We're going to go ahead and move these up a little bit, that way you can see. We are going to go ahead and look at what your future self is telling you to cut off. So I'm going to shuffle these cards really quick. Please connect me to the future self of pile number 2. What would you like pile number 2 to cut off? Okay, so we have these 2 cards that came out. We have the Magician, and then 13, this is the Death card with release. So we have the Peacock and the Unicorn. So the Magician says, there is magic in the air. You can manifest everything you need to be successful. And then the Peacock, it's time to release the past and move on to something new. This ending is the first step on the way to a happier future. So with these cards coming out as what your future self wants you to cut off, I feel like you could maybe tend towards self-doubt or not believing in yourself. I feel like this is something your future self wants you to cut out. And I feel like your future self really wants you to I'm just hearing them say surrender to the joy is something that's coming through. And with the peacock here, this is all about self-expression. This is all about reclaiming your power. And you know, peacocks aren't afraid to stand out. And this could be maybe something that you've struggled with, being afraid to stand out. I feel like your future self really wants you to release this fear of being seen is something that's coming through. And release, it's almost like I'm seeing somebody really go after the things that they want, but maybe your culture or your society is maybe discouraging of this, or maybe your family members don't really approve of the things that you're doing. I feel like your future self really wants you to surrender how other people view you is something that's coming through as well. And also surrender to the joy, you know, really going after what makes you happy, really doing the things that you love and enjoy just because you love and enjoy them. And so I feel like your future self really wants you to cut out this maybe this tendency towards negative self-talk or self-doubt, or also really maybe making yourself feel small or making yourself seem small. I feel like you have this very bright light, and your future self is coming through as being like this shining star almost, and you're meant to be seen is something that your future self is saying. And so I feel like your future self really wants you to stop almost like believing that you're not meant to be seen, or listening to other people's doubts, listening to your own doubts. You are meant to be seen, and your future self, I feel like there could be some type of connection as well that's coming in for you, and your future self really wants you to embrace the connection, embrace the love that you're receiving from other people. And we had the Six of Spring here as something to focus on. So you could be receiving recognition, you could be receiving awards of some type, but you could just be receiving praise from people. And your future self really wants you to release these beliefs that what you want and what you desire isn't for you, because your future self is saying if you weren't meant to have it, you wouldn't have a desire for it. If you weren't meant to do that thing or be with that person, you wouldn't think about doing that thing or being with that person. Because people who want, like, I'm getting this example. If you were really interested in psychic mediums and you really loved watching shows about mediumship and watching people channel and stuff like that, then you could be meant to be a medium. You could be meant to be a psychic, because people who aren't meant to be a psychic or a medium don't watch those kind of shows, don't dream about doing those things. And so your future self really is saying you have these dreams for a reason. And with the hawk here, you could be receiving a lot of downloads, a lot of feelings of inspiration. And so your future self really is encouraging you to follow the inspiration and follow that like fire feeling that you're getting, because you're not getting it for no reason, is something that your future self is saying. We're going to go ahead and end with some advice from your future self using these animal oracle cards. Let me just shuffle the deck really quick. Can we please get some advice from the future self of pile number 2, please? Advice from pile number 2's future self, please. Okay. So actually I'm going to take this top card, and we had the starfish come out on the back. I won't keep this card, but I will show you. It says, open to infinite possibilities. And the starfish is all about shining. It's all about being seen, the star of the show. And that's interesting that that came through for you. And then on the back of the deck, we have the vulture. Nothing is wasted. But I'm going to read this card out of the book for you. Let me just get a drink of water really quick. And when connecting with your group's energy, I just feel such this passion, this fire, this like wanting to talk and be loud and be seen, and very expressive energy that's coming through with this pile. And I just saw 2121 on the clock timer, so that could be significant for a few of you. But we did have the otter, you are not alone, and it came out in reverse, so we're going to read the reversal. me flip to it really quick. So it says, have you been channeling all your affection to just one person or counting on only one friend or individual to hold you up, heedless of your resources all around you? You deserve support and love from many people, and when Otter Spirit arrives, you are reminded that you have a community. Somewhere is another friend who wants to experience the joy of giving to you and seeing your happiness as you receive their gift of attention, affection, and kindness. Otter Spirit wants you to open your eyes to see the love that is available to you from all directions. Do you believe it? Do you feel it? Reach out to someone and you will see that they want to hold your hand as much as you want to hold theirs. Love, support, and friendship are available to you, so connect with community and friends. I love that for you. But I feel like that's all I have for you. That was your advice and guidance from your future self. Really reaching out to community. Don't feel like you have to rely on just one person for all your affection. You know, we're meant to have a relationship. We're meant to have friendships. We're meant to live in communities. You know, humans are social creatures, social people. You know, we're meant to connect with not just one person, not just two people, but whole communities. And that's what your advice and guidance is from your future self. But I feel like that's all I have for you, pile number 2. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this reading, please give me a like. Please comment down below and let me know if this resonated. And if you feel called, please subscribe to my channel. It really does help my channel grow. And we would love to have you be a part of the Sailor family as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. And I will see you later. Bye. Hello, if you chose pile number 3 with the Cosmic Slumber Tarot and the blue Apatite crystal, this is your reading. We're going to go ahead and get right in. We're going to look at your present energy using the oracle cards, and then we'll get into the tarot. So if the present energy isn't resonating for what you're currently going through, I would just try another pile. I just want to start out by saying that. So we'll go ahead and look at your cards. So you guys have the Lion in your present energy. I love this. The Lion is all about being a leader, having courage, being almost like a master of the fire element. I see the Lion almost like as the King of Wands type energy as well. It's also about patience, and it can also be about friendship. And then we have Child Divine as your present energy. Wow. So this says light attributes, innocence, purity, and redemption suggest a special connection with the divine. Shadow attribute, an inability to defend oneself against negative forces. Wow. So I feel like you're almost in this like master energy that's coming through. The Lion is the master of the fire element, and then we have Child Divine, and Child Divine is coming through as being this very sensitive energy as well, this almost like sensitive mystic. You could resonate with being an empath. That's something that's coming through as well. A highly sensitive person where you're able to understand people's intentions, understand people's emotions, understand people's thoughts behind the things that they do. Very tapped into spirit. And you're coming through as this like very connected energy as well as your present energy. This is very interesting because I feel like with this group in particular, I feel like you're very close to achieving some sort of goal or becoming the person that you want to become, or really almost aligning with the future version of you that you want to be. That's something that's coming through as well. I want to read the Lion card out of the book for you. The Lion is the most evolved form of fire. Okay, so the Lion says, patient, regal, a complete master. The lion is a master of the fire element and the living mascot of self-transformation. A lion personality dedicates their life to personal and spiritual growth. This dedication inspires some and intimidates others. Therefore, the lion is respected by all, but known intimately by few. Some mistake the lion as hard to access or aloof, yet those with the keener eye know better. Lions are observant, stealth, and precise in their words and actions. They do not waste energy or resources. This card reminds us that self-mastery is available to all, no matter where our quest begins. I feel like you could have been in this energy for a while, of really on this journey of self-transformation, and I feel like the further you go on your journey, the closer you become to being more authentically you, to being comfortable in your own form of self-expression, and you're coming through as the child divine. You know, the child divine isn't afraid of judgment. They don't care how they're perceived by others, and they really just do and say and be whatever they want to and whatever they feel in that moment. And that's coming through as your present energy. So I feel like that's very, very powerful. I feel like you could have been on a spiritual path. And I'm also hearing you could have been through several dark night of the souls, and it's almost like you're beginning to evolve at this very rapid pace. I'm really interested to see what your future self wants to come through and what messages they want to deliver to you, because I am very amazed at this energy. This, I feel like, takes a lot of self-work, not only on your trauma, but also on your emotional body, on your mental body, and I feel like you have done a lot of work, and it's like the further you go on your journey, the more you become you is something that's coming through. I feel like you've had a lot of realizations, a lot of epiphanies, and you could have been on this spiritual awakening, this spiritual path for a while is something that's coming through. Really interesting. But with this shadow attribute down here, I'm being drawn to it, an inability to defend oneself against negative forces. I feel like at this present moment, you could really be encouraged to practice protecting your energy, doing maybe like protection rituals or visualizing like a bubble of energy around you or something like this. I feel like you guys are very, very tapped in, and I feel like you could tend to take other people's emotions on as your own, or other people's thoughts or feelings on as your own. And you could, but with the lion here, I feel like you already are very aware of this. And I feel like you could be at a point where maybe you do protect yourself daily. You know, I feel like this is something that's almost like required of you. But it's really interesting. This is very evolved energy that's coming through. So I feel like you're no stranger to the spiritual awakening path. Being very awakened, being very woke is something that's coming through as well. I feel like that's your present energy. You're very awake, very aware. We're going to go ahead and look at your tarot cards. The first thing we're going to look at is what your future self wants to thank you for. So I'm going to shuffle these cards really quickly. I feel like your dreams could be very significant at this point in time. I feel like your spirit guides are really encouraging you. Oh, that was really weird that all happened in the middle of your guys' reading, and I was just going on about how magical and mystical this pile is, and I literally just had somebody ring my doorbell and deliver a package. That was really interesting that happened during your guys' reading. So that could be a message of confirmation. That could be a synchronicity for you guys or something. I don't know, but I feel like it is significant. But we're going to go ahead. It's interesting. I feel like you could maybe be waiting on something that is about to arrive. And I feel like that's something that your future self is also saying. But we're going to go ahead and look at what your future self wants to thank you for. I just saw 10:10 on my clock timer. So you could be at a period of completion is something that's coming through as well. Let's see. Please connect me to the future self of pile number 3. What do you want to thank pile number 3 for? Future self of pile number 3. What do you want to thank pile number 3 for? Future self of pile number 3. I feel like your cards really don't want to come out. Let's see. So we have the Morning, and this is actually a special card in this deck. I'm gonna get one more card. Let's get one more card. What do you want to thank pile number 3 for? Okay. So we have the 10 of Pentacles coming out. I feel like I'm getting this like message of patience. I feel like your future self really wants to thank you for, it's almost like they want to thank you for believing in yourself. They want to thank you for persevering through the challenge and through the struggles as well. And with the 10 of Pentacles here, this is somebody who's in a very fruitful garden. And when you think about plants, it takes a long time for plants to grow. So like I was saying, you could have been on this journey for a long time. And I feel like your future self is really thanking you for holding out, for really believing in yourself, believing that good things will come to you. And also, I feel like your future self really wants to thank you for trusting the process. That's something that's coming through as well. I feel like you're almost, it's like you're at a point where I feel like things are about to break through, and I feel like you're about to receive or experience the abundance for all of your hard work. Your future self is saying your hard work is paying off. And it's interesting because we had that package delivered during your reading, and I feel like it's almost like your future self is saying your package is almost here. It's literally at your doorstep is something that's coming through. But your future self really wants to thank you for this energy of resilience. Thank you for being patient. Even whenever things seemed very tough or it seemed like the sun wasn't going to rise, it's like you trusted that the sun will always come out. And I'm hearing that song from Annie, the sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar tomorrow. And that's something that's coming through, is like your future self really wants to thank you for waiting, to thank you for trusting in the process, and to thank you for really believing that the sun will come out again. I love that you have the 10 of Pentacles here as something your future self wants to thank you for, because it's like they want to thank you for all of the hard work that you've put in, all of the sweat, the tears, the dedication, the long nights, the dark night of the souls, the spiritual awakenings. You know, it's not easy, but your future self really wants to thank you for being patient with yourself and knowing that your fruits will come in. Let's go ahead and see what your future self is telling you to focus on at this time. Please connect me to the future self of pile number 3. What would you like pile number 3 to focus on? Okay. So we have 2 cards that came out for you. They both did come out in reverse, which is interesting. So we have the Emperor, and then we have the 8 of Swords. both of them coming out in reverse. And when the Emperor comes out in reverse, I feel like your future self really wants you to focus on not giving up, to focus on everything that you've accomplished, and also to really focus on your own energy and your own power, your own strength, the things that you have done, the things that you have accomplished. And actually, I want to look up the Eight of Swords in reverse really quick. The Eight of Swords talks about, and with it coming up in reverse, I feel like your future self really wants you to focus on maybe releasing negative thoughts, releasing self-limiting beliefs, and releasing this almost idea that you can't have everything that you want. It's like, I feel like if you were to open your eyes, you would realize how far you've come, and your future self really wants you to focus on everything that you've achieved, all the things that you've accomplished. But I want to look up really quick and see what it says. The Eight of Swords reversed. So I'm just on this website, tarot.com. So it says when the Eight of Swords is reversed, there is a tendency to rationalize, justify, and project blame onto others. Be sure you are not doing that. Judge yourself by the standards you hold your adversary to before you get caught in a trap of your own making. Focus your inner dialogue and your conversations with others on what you can do to produce positive change. Inspire others to see the high ground and join you there. You can't complain about the bad attitudes of your adversaries if you have one too. And it's interesting that it also says the advice for the Eight of Swords. You are being reminded that every setback you experience is a teacher awakening you to renewed effort. This is a learn by doing situation. There is no formula that guarantees outcome. You can be sure, however, that an open-minded and optimistic attitude will serve you better in the face of surprising developments. Be willing to make the rigorous effort that is being called for now. Perform wholeheartedly with good faith and hopefulness. As such, you'll forestall bickering and criticism, prevail against the negative forces, and overcome the demons of doubt and resistance. Get excited about your challenges. Be confident that you have what it takes to improve the situation. If you do your internal homework, the external situation will open for you. So I feel like your future self really is asking you to focus on optimism and really, it's like being glad that you've gone through all these things and that you've experienced all these challenges, because it awakens you to your potential. It awakens you to what you're capable of doing. And your future self wants you to focus on releasing pessimism, releasing self-doubt, releasing negative thoughts about yourself as well. Hold on one second. I'm going to get a drink of water. I feel like with this pile as well, you could be really opening your throat chakra. And I feel like you could also be being called to teach or speak about certain things as well, because you have come to a particular point in your journey where it's like, now it's time for you to teach about the things that you've learned. That's something that's coming through as well. And your future self really wants you to focus on claiming your power, being in your own power, and know that all the things that you've gone through, you went through them. Every challenge that you've overcome is something that's coming through. It's like, I feel like your future self really wants you to focus on gratitude for the challenges that you've experienced, because it almost like awakened you to the idea and to the realization that you can overcome any challenge that's thrown your way. And the proof is that you've overcome every challenge that's come your way. We're going to go ahead and look at what your future self is telling you to cut off. Please connect me to the future self of pile number 3. What would you like pile number 3 to cut off? So we had the Ten of Torches come out. We have the Ace of Torches and the Ten of Torches, which this is like the beginning and the end of the journey of the Wands. And then we have the Princess of Pentacles, which is like the Page of Pentacles. Really interesting. I feel like your future self wants you to acknowledge how far you've come. I feel like that's a really big message for this pile. And I feel like your future self wants you to stop thinking that you don't have the experience for something that's coming through. Because with the child energy here, I feel like you could tend to think that you're not as experienced, or that you could learn more, or you could do more. But it's almost like we go through cycles and we're always learning, we're always growing. But you've gotten to a point where your future self really wants you to go out there and pursue something, whether that's a relationship, whether that's a career, whether that's a passion project. And since you have the Ace and the 10 here of the Wands, or of the Torches suit, your future self wants you to stop believing that you are just a beginner. And, you know, a beginner's mindset is really good because it can allow us to have a more open mindset. But I feel like it sometimes can be almost a trap where we think we could always learn more. We're not good enough to go out there and teach or do something because we need to learn more. We need to know more. But I feel like your future self wants you to know that you have evolved and that you have expanded in your consciousness and in your awareness, and you've gotten to a point where you would be a really good teacher, you would be a really good mentor, you would be really good at helping other people who've gone through the things that you've gone through. And also with the Ten of Wands here, I feel like your future self wants you to really, it's almost like stop and smell the roses, but also like relax. I feel like you could be very overzealous and in the fact of wanting to go out and learn and do more, and it's like when things are meant to be for you, they will never pass you. It's something that your future self is saying. But also don't feel like you have to go out there and overburden yourself, because anything that's meant for you will come to you, is something that your future self is saying as well. The Princess of Pentacles, the Page of Pentacles. Yeah, I feel like your future self just wants you to know that you have experienced a lot and you have gone through a lot, and you're not this beginner, is something that your future self is saying, that you've learned all these lessons, and I feel like you would make a really good teacher. You have this master energy here, and I feel like you would also make a really good friend, and I feel like you would give really good advice to people as well. You're very close to being this energy that you want to be, and with, like I was saying, with that package arriving on my doorstep, it's like you are there. The things you want are here. They're right on your doorstep. The person you want to be, the authentic version of you, is here in this moment. And you really just have to show up for yourself. You really just have to make the conscious choice and the conscious decision to shift your focus to going after what it is you want to go after. There's nothing else for you to learn, is something that your future self is saying, that you know everything that you need to know. And if you don't know it, when you need to know it, the information will be presented to you and the information will arrive for you in the present moment, is something that your future self is saying. Okay. Really powerful pile. This, I feel like you guys out of all three of the groups are very well on your journey to almost embodying your future self. It's like right there. You just have to almost step into it. It's like it's literally standing right next to you, and you just have to move over a couple of inches. It's like you've already like done all of this work. You're just at the point where you're just tweaking a little bit to be in this version of your future self, and that's something that your future self is saying. But we're going to go ahead and end with some advice and guidance from the Spirit Animal Oracle. And I feel like my throat chakra feels very activated in this group. So I feel like you are meant to be some sort of public speaker, some sort of mentor, some sort of coach as well, where you could help people on their spiritual journey. And I feel like your throat chakra really is being activated at this point. Future self of pile number 3. Can we please get some advice and guidance? Okay. So we have be playful. And it's interesting that this came out as your advice and guidance. I feel like with the 10 of Wands here as well, something your future self wants you to cut off is almost like taking things too seriously. And we have that come through with your advice and guidance of be playful. Number 51. I'm going to actually read this card out of the book for you. Let me flip to it really quickly. Okay. So this says, sandpipers are like cute little clowns poking their beaks into the sand before darting off to chase the waves. The appearance of sandpiper spirit is a sign that now is a time to engage your playfulness. Whatever tasks you have before you, perform them with the lightness of being. Explore the familiar, discovering the new in the old. Who knows what treasures await you when you let yourself laugh and have fun. Sandpiper spirit's happy and curious nature can help you to feel rejuvenated as you remember your ability to run and fly and dance playfully. I love this. Your advice and guidance is really beautiful because your future self really just wants you to have fun and remember this like divine child that's being activated in you right now, connecting with your inner child, playing, having fun, being that clown, being silly and goofy is something that's coming through as your advice and guidance. But I feel like that's all I have for you, pile number 3. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this reading, please give me a like. Please comment down below and let me know if this resonated. And if you feel called, please subscribe to my channel. It really does help my channel grow, and we would love to have you be a part of the Sailor family as well. Thank you so much again for watching, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you later. Bye!